voiceover work.
What?
So I know how to work these sorts of things.
Oh,
Oh yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Cause yeah, you sent me that whole sample of stuff, and I was like, holy shit. I was really impressed. Okay. Oh, I should do a little Snapchat, not Snapchat, whatchamacallit, Instagram story that you're here. I'm so bad at,
I know. I never remember, and then I'm like, God damn it.
I know.
After my makeup's off or whatever. I don't even care about makeup anymore. I stopped wearing makeup so long ago.
Your face is beautiful.
Your face is beautiful.
It is. Your skin's always been great.
Except I have a fat pimple.
No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Hey guys, I'm in the studio with the amazing Brett Rossi.
Hi.
You can watch our interview live on my Patreon, so go ahead and swipe up, or you can just wait for it to come out on my podcast. I started a art Patreon too.
That's cool.
Where like I'm trying to like fund. I want to do a coffee table book.
Ooh.
And I want to just like literally just like art stuff, like no porn, because they'll kick me off for doing porn anyways. So yeah, so I'm hoping that will. Seems like easier to get people to pay for stuff before you produce the content as opposed to
really?
After. Yeah, it's really weird. I think that people like the whole like Patreon thing. At least I hope I do. I know that members of my Patreon are watching right now because they feel like they're like a part of something, and they know that like they're helping you make something.
Yeah.
You know, like I wouldn't be able to do this without my Patreon. I have a sponsor, but it doesn't even come close to covering my costs.
They feel part of like a club, like a secret club.
Yeah, well, and they know I couldn't do this without you guys. I can barely hear myself. I don't think my headphones are on.
They're not?
Hello?
God damn it, my stupid bun.
I don't know. I have a lot of white noise.
Oh, that's not good.
Can you hear me okay? I definitely don't feel like... How do you... Does it sound okay to you?
I mean, I can't really hear myself in the headphones, but the volume on the headphones might be down. I don't know.
Yeah, which is maybe it's good or
okay,
not.
That's
depends.
Good. Or not.
Depends on...
Holly's playing footsie with me.
Okay, we're good? Yeah, we're good. Okay. Don't forget to start the timer.
Oh, yeah, because we'll end up being here for like 3 hours.
Uh-huh. Okay, we good? All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I want to welcome to the show an old friend, somebody I haven't seen in a while, and I'm so excited that she's here. Brett Rossi.
I'll clap because, there's nobody else in here.
How are you? Everybody at home who's listening is clapping.
Okay, good. I'm great. I'm here.
You are here.
We've been planning this forever.
I know.
We've been trying, at least.
Yes, we have, but we're both pretty busy.
Yeah.
So, but I'm actually going to see you next week, too. Did you know that?
Wait, because we're shooting?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's like on a Friday or something,
yeah, we're shooting for Naughty America.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, and you asked who I wanted to work with. I was like, oh, this is a great day. I get to pick.
I know.
I get to pick my penis.
I'm big on that. Like I always, especially when I'm shooting for myself, my own side, I always ask the girls who they want to work with because I want to put you with somebody that you like.
Yeah.
I want you guys to have good chemistry. I think that's the most important thing. And Naughty America is pretty liberal about like letting me pick kind of who I want. I have to run everybody past them, but they give me a lot of creative freedom, which I really like.
That's nice.
I don't get that a lot these days, so I appreciate it.
Welcome to the other side.
I know. I actually got to write my own scripts. I got final drafts. It was very exciting.
That's fancy.
And I wrote my own scripts for the last 2 scenes that I shot for them. And it was really funny because, so like a lot of times, I'm sure that
were they poignant? Like, were they like, you're going to win an award for this scene?
Yeah, well, I kept saying that, but I always say that because I'm full of shit. But no, they weren't. They were funny, I thought. I was trying to make them humorous.
Yeah.
And, but it was funny because, a lot of times when I'm shooting scripts, like everyone on set's always like, oh my God, this is so stupid. Who wrote this shit? Like everyone always says that. Yeah, we always do. Everybody does, the performers. So I warned everyone before we got to set. I'm like, okay, everyone, I wrote these scripts, so you can't make fun of them. Nobody gets to go, who wrote this script? That's just stupid. I fucking wrote it. So everyone, you all have to love the script and talk about how great it is.
I just feel like whoever's writing the scripts, I really think they still live in their mom's basement.
A lot of them, some of them.
A lot of them do.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but I get the feeling that many of them have never been on a production set before. And it's difficult when you have somebody all the way many, many thousands of miles away writing a script in a different country, writing a script for you just basically because they don't understand the logistics of the location that you're shooting at.
Or which even like the production and
in general.
And how it works.
Which isn't necessarily their fault, but like I find when I'm writing my own script and I know where I'm shooting, like I know the angles I can get. I know what's feasible there, so I can write the script around what I've got available to me. It just makes it like so much fucking easier.
Yeah.
Which is really
instead of like, helpful. Okay, we're going to start the scene with your hair wet, then it's going to be dry, then it's going to be wet again, and then it's going to be dry again.
Yeah, well, I had to shoot the most ridiculous scene for Twisties a couple of weeks ago.
Twisties, which by the way, I was one of the very first contract girls.
You
just
were.
Have to throw that out there with Emily Addison and Taylor Vixen.
Yep.
My contract sisters. We're the OG Twisties contract girls.
And Taylor Vixen, that was when Taylor Vixen was my roommate.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
she was your roommate?
She was my roommate. That girl was the loudest walker I've ever met in my life.
I walk pretty loud.
No. Like, she would come home. Like, it was funny. Okay, so she's got, like, size 5 feet. And she's, like, this little girl. Yeah. She would, because she would like to party. So she'd be out, and then she'd come, and I go to bed.
Really? All three of us like to party?
Well, you guys are young, beautiful women. Of course you do.
Crazy together.
And I'm like an old fart, and I go to bed early. And this is when I was married. And so my husband and I would be sleeping, and she would come home at like 2 a.m. And I swear to God, it sounded like she was purposely stomping up the stairs, stomping to her room. And I was like, this girl is tiny. Like, how is she so loud? And we even had a guest stay over who said the same thing. She's like, does your roommate purposely walk really, really loudly? And I have all wood floors.
I had no idea she was your roommate then.
Yeah, she was.
Because I always picked you to do the shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they'd be like, who do you want, Tammy or Holly? And I'm like, sorry, I'm kind of partial to Holly.
Aw, shucks.
Nothing against Tammy. It's just you.
Well, we've known each other for a while.
I wrote you a long love letter.
You did. So when Brett and I first sort of met, she sent me this email, and she sent me, I wish I still had it. And she sent me some
probably do.
photos of herself. And she basically, the crux of it was, hey, I really want to do this. I think I have the potential. I just need somebody to give me a chance. And there was something in your email that reminded me of myself.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah, like I could see the ambition. I could see that you were serious about what you were saying. And I was like, yeah, sure. Why don't you come over to the ranch? We'll shoot like one set. And, I'll send it around.
And you were shooting Madison Ivy.
I was shooting Madison Ivy that day.
When she was blonde.
Yeah, when she was still fairly new.
Mm-hmm.
And I shot a half day on Madison, and then I shot one set on you. And then I sent it around to a couple of magazines, and like everybody bought it. Yeah. That was like one of my most successful selling sets that I've ever shot.
That right after that was then when I became Miss Howard Stern, and then a Playboy Cyber Girl, and then a Penthouse Pet, and then everything just kind of spiraled after that.
Yeah, and now here you are.
Here I am.
Big superstar.
A jaded superstar that's like, I want to go to bed at 8 and I want to be off set by 3.
Girl, I totally get it. Like these people who pull these I hate night shoots. I hate
Oh my God,
them.
I hate night shoots too. It's like in my what do they call those? Like
contract?
Like, when you're like this big headliner and they have like their things that they want, like I want green M&Ms.
Oh, like stipulations?
Yeah, it's like a stipulation of mine. I'm like, I don't do night shoots.
Yeah.
Unless it's like, if it's like a feature, then I understand.
Yeah.
But if it's just a fucking scene, no one cares. Just make it look like it's dark, please.
Yeah.
Because I go to bed I'm in my jammies by like 8.
Yeah.
I'm in bed sleeping by 9.
Yeah. I went to bed yesterday at 8:45.
Yeah.
But I tried to go to bed at 8:45, but then I got woken up in the middle of the night. My brother's dog, he's out of town, so we're taking care of his dog. And we put him in my bedroom because he fucking barks at everything. And we woke up in the middle of the night and he had shit all over the fucking bedroom, like diarrhea shit. The fucking
the
smell
woke you up, didn't
woke me
it?
up.
Oh my God, that's the worst when that happens.
It was so my boyfriend and I had to like carry the bed outside.
And it's just everywhere. And dog
he
poop,
tracked it on like the carpet. And we had to like clean the carpet. And it was like 3 a.m.
I was just
so
having
mad.
this conversation the other day. I literally have no problem using my bare hand to pick up horse shit.
Yeah.
But dog poop
totally different.
Is a whole different ball game.
I like the smell of horse shit because it actually reminds me of my childhood because I rode horses. Their diet is completely different.
It's just grass.
Yeah.
And like some mush pellets.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
it's probably like, what? Do you think like Nicole Aniston's poop smells really good because she's vegan?
Probably. I mean, I'm vegetarian and my shit stinks. I don't know what's wrong with me. I mean, I guess I'm just like rotten inside. I don't know. But I mean, because I still eat dairy and I'm lactose intolerant. So
I do. Yeah, it's kind of same. I think like we're all lactose intolerant, but like it's really hard to give up cheese.
But I mean, like my shit sometimes I'm like, did something crawl up there and die? Like, I don't understand it. It's not sexy to talk about, but I don't really even care, man.
Me and my boyfriend like still don't acknowledge that the other one like poops. We have separate bathrooms.
I poop with the door open and like talk to people. I've been like that since I was a kid. I talk to people with the door open. I poop with the door open. I don't even care. Like contractors are here or at my house right now because we're getting our master bathroom remodeled. I just shit with the door wide open. I don't even care. They like walk by. They're like, hey, I'm like, I don't even care.
So
like
great.
I get claustrophobic in the bathroom and I get lonely. Like I want to talk to people.
You get lonely.
Like the phone isn't enough. I get lonely. You don't get lonely? I'm like, hello.
No, I don't. I don't get lonely. It's like the only time I have to myself sometimes.
I get lonely.
So I don't know how to segue from the poop talk to this, but I do want to talk that you were just crowned a Vixen Angel.
Yeah, I was.
Which was very exciting.
It was exciting, and the story is very similar to you.
I thought you were gonna say to the shit. I don't know why. My head was still on the shit story.
So I've known Greg. Greg shot like my first real scene.
Mm-hmm.
My first like girl scene
for Reality Kings.
Yeah, for Reality Kings with Sammy Rhodes and Kirsten Price. And I remember I was like so nervous, and they just like ravaged me, and it was a lot of fun. But I was like so intimidated by Greg.
Right.
And because Greg and I are very similar in the fact that we're both like perfectionists. I have OCD and I'm a little off the wall, so I don't really know like what he is, but maybe he is. I'd like to think maybe he is, but the point is, a few, I'd say months ago, I was in Vegas and I was working the exotic dancer convention, and I was like, you know what? They had named like the new Vixen Angel or whatever, and I was like, how come I'm not a Vixen Angel? What the fuck?
You've been pretty much everything else.
That I was like, why am I not a Vixen Angel? I was feeling a little like down and out, and like I've given him my first IR, my first anal, and like, you know, he's pretty much shot all my firsts. And so I wrote him this long text message. I didn't have his email, or else I would have written him an email. And I even said that in the text. I was like, hey, by the way, sorry, I don't have your email. I wrote him this long thing, and I said, this is why I think you should make me a Vixen Angel. And he was so excited that I wrote to him, and he told everyone, like his whole company, when I got named, when we did like the actual ceremony, everyone came up to me and they're like, your letter to him was so touching and blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh, that was kind of, oh, everyone saw this, okay, so we're gonna just tell everyone that I asked. All right, well, yes, I asked. So yeah, I just felt like, you know what, I've always been that way. If I want something, I'm gonna just go for it and ask. I mean, what's the worst they can say? No.
Yeah.
I've been told no a million times,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like really embarrassing. But you know, I was really excited. He said yes, and it was really cool because I feel like his brand. I know a lot of people have like their own personal opinions of him and his brand, whatever. I don't
Really?
Yeah, really.
I didn't catch on to that.
Really? But you know what? I don't really care. I care about my brand.
Yeah.
And so I feel like his brand, since I was a contract girl basically my whole career,
Mm-hmm.
now I'm not, and I haven't
Mm-hmm.
been for a while. I feel like his brand kind of is parallel with my brand,
Mm-hmm.
and they're very much alike in the classiness and
Mm-hmm.
you know the glamour
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of where I've been struggling with my career is the fact that I'm stuck in this like contract glamour girl world that doesn't exist.
I remember we talked about that because
Mhm.
it's so hard. It's so expensive to shoot the kind of stuff that we want to shoot. And Greg's like one of the few people that has the money to
I
do it.
know, right?
And he's incredibly talented. I mean,
Right.
there's no denying his stuff's beautiful.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I wish that like he would let me do some big hair and you know some smoky eye. But besides that,
Yeah.
I mean everything when you're on set with him, it feels like the old days, and
Mhm.
I feel almost at home.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to become a Vixen Angel because
Mhm.
I wanted to be a part of something. Because I lately
You're
I've
not,
been
yeah, because you're not gonna get that kind of treatment
no
in many other
no,
places.
no
Nope.
and lately I've been really struggling
Yeah.
with the fact that I've come to a point in my career where I have enough confidence to say it's kind of plateaued.
Mhm.
And that's not bad, but it took me a long time to understand that it wasn't bad
Mhm.
because I'm one of those people where if I'm not doing something, then I feel like I'm failing.
Mhm. I think
And
also our culture kind of pushes and breeds that in social media,
yeah.
and you see like everybody's doing a million things, and
Mhm.
you feel like that's how I feel. I go on social media and I compare myself to everybody
Well,
all
and
the time.
I struggle with I'm actually bipolar, so I struggle with my own personal issues. So when
Mhm.
I see social media, it's like a constant I have to look like this, I have to feel like this, I have to be this person, I have
Mhm.
to be this image and you know, I have to compete. So it's really hard to not get wrapped up in that.
Mhm.
And you know, I can preach it all day long, but I do. I get wrapped up in it sometimes because I feel like I wish I was vain enough to sit there like we were talking about earlier and
Mhm.
taking pictures of myself constantly and living on my social media.
Mhm.
I went through some things in the past with tabloids and really invading my privacy
Mhm.
to the point where a lot of girls have the ability to go and be Jane Doe.
Mhm.
You know, they're this person, this is their porn persona and their
Mhm.
image, and then when they go home, they're Jane Doe. Nobody knows who they are.
Right.
Whereas Brett Rossi and Scott Teen Ross are the same people
Yeah.
because of my past, you know, decisions and tabloids and just that whole lifestyle that I lived, which, you know, I'm not regretting it or bashing it, but there are repercussions that a
Right.
lot of girls they strive to be famous or well known or you know they want to be their name and lights,
Mhm.
but they don't understand that the repercussions of that is you will always be a porn star. It doesn't matter what you do, and it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done comedy, I've done TV shows, I've done this, I've done that, but no matter what, at the end of the day, I'm always the porn star.
Yep.
So I struggled a lot in the last few years with not having that ability to like shut it off and have my private life. So because of that, I've become super recluse and super private,
Right.
which is like totally opposite of the person I used to be.
Right. Yeah, because you've seen like the other side of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, people, everybody wants to be famous, but they don't, you know, understand what it takes to get there and what the other side of that
Yeah.
fame is.
And it really um it's really hard when you do have a mental, you know, disorder because you're constantly told you're somebody when you're not that
Mhm.
person, that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're constantly reading about who the person that they've created. So the tabloids, in my experience,
Mhm.
I feel like they create this person that they think you are, this persona. You have no choice over it. Either
Mhm.
they like you or they don't.
Right.
And if you're in porn, they're not going to like you no matter what. It
Right.
doesn't matter if, you rescued a sinking ship with a bunch of children on it. Like, they're, no matter what you
It'll
are.
still say porn star rescues
Right,
sinking ship with
exactly.
children.
And it takes a lot to really step back and get your mind in order,
Mhm.
or else it eats you alive.
Yeah. I mean, you guys, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, with being, I mean, a porn star, and especially with the internet,
Mhm.
once you put yourself out there, there's no taking that back.
No.
And then the world just sees you through one lens.
Which totally sucks because, I mean, I know so many girls who are multidimensional
Mhm.
and multifaceted. Like with me, I do voiceover work, I do comedy, I do acting, I, do this and this and this and that. And no matter what, I'm just Brett Rossi, the
Yeah.
porn star.
Yeah.
And you have to really become comfortable with that. I don't even know how we got on this topic, but
Yeah, we went on a tangent.
we
but that's
just went
okay.
on a tangent.
That's
but
okay.
It's a great tangent.
This is a great tangent. And that's honestly like part of the reason that I wanted to start this podcast, was to give people like you a voice, and so that the listeners could hear that you're like a human being with hopes and dreams, and
Right.
you're not just a porn star, and you have, a separate life and a separate persona. And the feedback actually I've gotten from a lot of my listeners has been really great, that people really like that they're discovering who these people are as people. And it's
Right.
I've had quite a few people tell me it's completely changed their opinion on the industry, and on certain girls and all that. So it's been great. I mean, because I know you guys as that.
You know
You
us
know?
personally, so
Right.
like, for some reason with me, I don't know what it is, but people get it so twisted in regards to who I am. When
Mhm.
people meet me, it's so funny. The first thing they say to me is, "Oh my gosh, I thought you were going to be like this cracked out, drugged out mess." And I'm like, "What possibly, I don't understand what behaviors I've ever done to make you
Yeah.
think that. I've never been I've never publicly done anything that was so irrational that it made somebody think that I possibly had a drug problem or I was cracked out and crazy." And so they meet me and they realize, "Oh wow, you're actually like a really down to
Normal
earth,
person. Yeah.
normal person."
Right.
I mean, I like to play with my ponies and decorate my house. Like, I'm a very boring person. So whenever I do interviews, they're like, "So, what do you do for fun?" And I'm like, I am the most boring person ever, and I love it.
Yeah, I know. I feel the same way. I'm the same. Like, I'm so happy if I can spend a weekend like cleaning the house and like
Mhm.
catching up on work.
Yeah.
That's like, to me, like that's like relaxing to me, because I'm just so task oriented. Yeah.
Anything where I can disconnect from reality
Right.
is the most comforting and the place that I find the most solace from, because I mean, a great example, my husband and I went looking at houses a few months ago, and it was so awkward because somebody came up to me and they said, "Oh my God, you're Brett Rossi." And they're with their family, and we're looking at houses, and I'm clearly with a man.
Yeah.
You don't know who this man is.
Right.
Like, and you're this weird stranger coming up to me and saying this. And, it would be different if I was like this actress on a bunch of movies,
Hmm.
like television shows or whatnot, but we all know why you're a fan of
Right.
me.
Right.
So there's borders, and it's a little bit different when people come up to us porn stars and say, "Oh, it's so great to meet you." Like when you're on an airplane, someone yells your name. It's very uncomfortable because then people are like, "Oh, well, who's that? Wait, Brett Rossi, who's that?" And then they Google, and then it's like a whole awkward plane ride or walk.
Do you ever
back
get
to
like
the
someone
car.
sitting next to you who's like,
Yes, I have. And I've also gotten, the "Can we have a picture?" And I mean, I'm sorry, but if I'm traveling and my hair's in a bun and I've had a terrible flight day, I say no sometimes. You know, I say sorry.
Yeah.
I have no problem signing something, but there's a line, and some people are much more open and cool about it, but I've had my privacy invaded so much that, you know, I've become that kind of recluse, super antisocial person. I'm like the weirdest person. I'm super friendly, super talkative, but I'm actually very shy, which is totally opposite of who I was, say, even 5 years ago.
Right.
So...
well, I always remember you as the girl who came to my birthday and actually brought me a cake when my family forgot to bring me a birthday cake.
We used the long candle.
Yes.
It's like what are those, like stem? It's like a stem candle.
No, they're fuck. Why am I spacing on what they're called? Yeah, the long tall candles.
The long tall candles, and nobody had birthday. And your mom like asks me like I was the one in charge of bringing everything.
Yeah. She's like, wait, we're supposed
to
have
have
a cake?
The candles.
Yeah, and I was like, it's my birthday. Of course I'm supposed to have a cake. What the fuck?
Yeah,
what's wrong with you people?
That was amazing. And then like the slices, I was like, okay, well this was meant just for Holly, so we're gonna have to like, you know.
I feel like we bonded over our love of sugar because you also love donuts.
Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with donuts. I'm so obsessed with donuts that everywhere I go, I have to try like a different donut shop.
How are you so skinny if you like donuts so much?
Because I work out like a crazy person, and I'm actually a very healthy eater. I started having stomach problems a few years ago, and I got this. I literally started like, I had really bad stomach problems. I always felt sick. I was getting really bad eczema on my face and on my body every time I would eat meat. And so I went to this allergy specialist and I took this test, and he basically told me everything I was allergic to, and I found out I was allergic to meat. So I cut out meat and I cut out everything I was allergic to. And so, I mean...
What would you have done if donuts were on that list?
Well, technically, gluten is part of, one of my sensitivities. So there's like a Richter scale of like how allergic you are to things. And, I'm a fan of playing Russian roulette with my life. That's not a secret. I mean, come on. I've made some pretty interesting decisions in my life. I still do it. Like a great example, I'm allergic to lobster. And I was at Sapphires in New York.
Are you allergic to shellfish or just lobster?
Just lobster. It's weird. I can have crab, but I can't have lobster. I can have shrimp, but I can't have prawns.
I thought they were the same thing.
No, I don't know. There's something about them that's different. I don't know. It's so weird. Like I thought crab and lobster were like
pretty much the same. Yeah.
So I'm at Sapphires in New York, and I'm really hungry, and they bring out like all this food. And they're like, oh, this is our lobster mac and cheese. Well, knowing damn well I'm allergic to lobster, like bad allergic. I was like, I'll just take a little sample. So I took a sample. Next thing I know, I've got hives all over me.
Oh my God.
I have to go on stage, and I look like I have chicken pox. It's just all over the place. And so...
How did that go?
It sucked. I have no self-control sometimes over things. So, I mean, I pretty much just accepted that about me.
I think as we grow older, we start to I think one of the greatest things is accepting your shortcomings.
Right.
Like I've accepted the fact that I just will not push myself working out on my own. I have to take a class. I have to have a trainer. I have to have someone yelling at me because I just will come up with 1,000 excuses not to finish. Like this morning I went and worked out and I took a class, and halfway through I was like thinking of excuses to leave. I mean, I do it all the time.
See, I won't leave in the middle of a class, but
I usually won't, but my head start telling me to do it. You should get home early and shower. You got a lot of stuff to do before this podcast. You just started your period. You're not feeling that great. Like, oh my God. But then I'm glad I pushed myself through.
Right.
But fuck, dude. I hate exercise. I fucking hate it.
I hate it. I hate it, but
I have to do it.
I have to do it because my mind is like constantly so go, 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 go.
Yeah.
I literally, if somebody could open up my brain, they would be like, what is wrong with this lady? I think about so many things that don't even, doesn't even matter. Like, I'm already stressed out about Christmas shopping.
Oh my God, I am too.
Because I like to get it done. I'm like, oh my God. And then I got to get this Christmas present. But if I buy it right now, then I might lose it. But then I could hide it where I could find it. Like, I literally am one of those people where I overthink everything.
Yeah, I've totally like bought people Christmas presents and then put it away and then forgot I bought it and then bought them something else close to Christmas.
Well, get this. Last year, I was going to make Kaden Cross a blanket for Christmas because she's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And I was cleaning out my closet. So I totally forgot about that present.
Right.
I was like, fuck that. I was cleaning out my closet, like my storage closet a few weeks ago. And I found all the stuff to make the blanket. And I was like, oh, here's the blanket I never gave her. And then I ended up just like using it for something else. I made like a ferret blanket. I like sewed like a ferret. I have like a farm. I do. I've got a ferret named Frank, a rabbit named Colin.
Don't ferrets stink?
No.
Oh.
So they're kind of like they're related. They're not rodents. They're related to the feline species. So they're like cats. If you don't clean out their cages or
I just knew someone who had ferrets and they smelled so
bad.
bad.
If you don't, they definitely have a skunky scent to them if you don't wash them. The main thing is their bedding, their blankets, and then he's litter trained, Frank. So like you just clean out his litter box and call it a day. But I have a rabbit named Colin. He comes when he's called.
Oh my God.
He's so amazing. And then I have 3 dogs, 2 horses.
Do you have the same dogs that you had before?
Yeah, Charles, Samson, and Tiny.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember Tiny because it's so tiny. And then like one of them is a lab, right?
Yeah,
and then
Samson.
the other one's like a Pomeranian.
Yeah, Charles.
Okay.
Charles is a dick.
Yes,
he
Charles
pretty
is
much
a dick.
he got kicked out of like doggy day camp because he pisses on everyone. So I had to like, you know, some people like pill shop or like doctor shop for pills. I had to like boot camp shop or like for my dog because he kept getting kicked out of like all the camps for peeing on other dogs. So I finally found one, and you know, I just told him straight up, I'm like, look, my dog's super cool, but he's gonna pee on everyone. Yeah. And they're like, oh, okay, he's not like aggressive. I'm like, no, he just wants to pee. He's just a dick, you know. So yeah, and he barks at everything and everyone, and it's so funny because I live in this gated community, and they're like super strict, like, you know, with security, like, oh, your dog's barking, so they'll call, and I'm like, not even home. I'm like in a different state. Oh, my dog's not even home when my dog's really like in the backyard barking. I just lie and say my dog's not home because I kept getting tickets. I kept getting fines.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they did that for dogs.
Yeah. I mean, my neighborhood is kind of bougie, and so I don't know, but I'm going to fucking find the neighbor that's tattling on me. Yeah. They're probably just jealous because my house is like the best house for Halloween. Dude, so there's this like pumpkin lady. She's called the Pumpkin Lady, and she lives like 3 houses down. She's like on the corner house, and every year she has like 1,500 plus pumpkins.
1,500.
I swear to you, I could show you photos. Okay. And she like puts them up on like these little like stage things, and like everyone comes and gathers around and whatever. So when I first moved into this neighborhood, I was like, oh, hell no. I was like, this lady is not going to beat me in the decoration category. So I tell my husband, I'm like, look, you're not into holidays, but get the fuck over it, because I am. So we go and we like make this like haunted graveyard, and we go all out, and kids are like lined up to like get candy from us and take pictures from us. So now it's become like a tradition every year, like we're the house that like does all out. Well, last year, every year we do like a theme, and last year the neighbors across the street copied us. They never decorate ever. And last year they copied us. And I was so fucking mad. Like, I'm getting mad just thinking about it. I was like, fuck this. We're never decorating before because we want it to be a surprise. So this year, our theme is we're doing a haunted like cornfield. So I bought all these corn stalks, and we're gonna like put them in our front yard, and like.
So you haven't done it yet?
No. So we wait until the 29th.
But then you don't have.
And then we start production. And it is a production.
But you don't have that much time to enjoy it,
so
though.
I put
Don't you feel
up
sad?
basic decorations.
Okay.
I put up basic decorations.
So it's like layered.
Yes. And then I put like the deep decorations. And then I go over to the pumpkin lady's house afterwards and I tell her how amazing my house is and like her pumpkins are just like basic. First of all, I have a competition with this pumpkin lady and she's like 80. And I'm like, fuck this pumpkin bitch. Like, you know, I get like really aggressive about it. My husband's like, dude, you need to like calm down. She's like 80. I'm like, who cares about her stupid pumpkins? They're not even real. They're like the plastic ones that she uses like a Dremel. That's cheating.
That's a cop out.
Yeah. But she's got like, she has a storage unit and she brings them out and like it's kind of cute. They all have like their little stories in the year that she carved them. And every year she comes out with 5
Wait a minute, how'd
ones.
she carve them if they're fake?
So that's what's kind of unique about it. She uses like a Dremel and then she puts like lights in them like they were almost like they're real pumpkins. And you would only know that they're plastic until you touch them.
So she carves plastic pumpkins?
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that?
Don't know. No idea. So, I mean, I kind of like hate this lady, but I kind of love her at the same time.
You need to like find out her secrets.
I know. But my house is like the house for the holidays because I find holidays are just like my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just really like to get lost in. I love to give to others. I love to spoil people.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when you decorate your house all cute, like it really makes people drive. Like think about when you drive by a house and you see a house decorated cute. You're like, oh my God, how cool.
No, that's how I feel about. I don't decorate my house for Halloween because I'm not really into Halloween. Though honestly, like if I had the time and if I had like the finances, like I would. But I do love Christmas, right? So every year I usually get my house professionally lit up with like professional lights because I can't do it myself. Actually, and my boyfriend did it one year because he was like, "We're not going to spend the money. I'm going to do it myself." He did the worst job. There was like wires hanging everywhere, and I was like, "This is so
our
sloppy."
Power kept blowing.
Really?
Yes, because we had too many plugged in. Like I was like, this is not. I want to do the professional for sure.
Yeah, the professional makes a huge difference because he did it I think last year, and I was like, this looks like shit. And we got in like our first fight about the Christmas lights. I was like, this looks terrible. He's like, no, it's fine. Like
you're like, this is a representation of my house.
I know, and the thing is like what you're saying. So you know, I work long, as you know, in production. We work long days, and especially at winter. You know, a lot of times you're coming home from set and it's dark already.
Yeah.
I leave when it's dark and I come home when it's dark. And it makes me happy to pull up to my house and see it like lit up with lights. Like that like just makes me feel like warm inside. And I love Christmas. Like I'm very close to my family and we've always, you know, made a big deal about Christmas. And it's just like for me, it's a kind of harkens back to my childhood and it just makes me feel safe and happy. And so I love Christmas. And
I like go all out. I decorate my stables.
Really?
I just moved to this new barn and I'm literally already thinking about I've got a bitch in space. So I've got like the end stalls and I purchased like I'm leasing like 4 stalls, so I made them like giant stalls because I have 2 giant horses.
Right.
And then the owner built us like this deck. So we have like this huge deck and I finally have my dream of like we just put up like a little bistro set so we can like sit on our chairs and like sip coffee or I don't know why we would have coffee, but we'll figure that aspect out later.
You'll bring in the coffee
we'll bring it
to work with the bistro set.
I can like totally picture the decorative skills and ideas like this year it's going to be way better than just like my horse with the stupid stocking.
Yeah.
My house or my barn is going to be like the shit. I just love it.
But do you get anxiety about Christmas? Because
yeah, totally.
I absolutely do. So my whole thing is that like every year I'm always like, Christmas is coming. I'm always like, I'm not going to work that much this year. I'm going to do all the Christmas things. I'm going to get really into like the season. And then I don't because I end up working and I don't do all the Christmas things that I want to do. And then the closer we get to the actual day of Christmas, I get like more and more depressed because all I can think about is how it's going to be over. So then on Christmas Day, I'm usually like kind of downcast because it's going to be over at the end of the
Well,
day.
this
And
year,
it bums me out. So all the lead up to and then the day, that is the day that's supposed to be the happiest day that all this has been leading up to. I'm like bummed out because all I can think about is how it's going to be over. I have an issue with living in the now. It's really bad.
Well, this year I feel like I'm more stressed out than normal because I decided a few months ago that I was going to finish my schooling for nursing. So I decided I was going to go back. And so I had to like challenge the test and in order to like apply my old credits and yada, yada, yada. Well, I found out that my school starts December 17th. And I'm like, that like puts a damper in the middle
That's right
of
before
like
Christmas.
yes, and I have 2 feature dance gigs like the weekend before and the weekend of. And I'm an idiot and agreed to take like a feature dancing gig like I think it's like the 21st or the 23rd. So I'm like
that's like prime Christmas season.
Yes.
I mean, that's right before Christmas Eve.
So this year I feel like I have a lot of extra pent-up anxiety just because I'm nervous going back to school and then nervous about like Christmas and just in general I'm just like a nervous person. Dude, I'm like I don't know what the word is, but like I'm a hypochondriac when it comes to like nerves. I don't not like sicknesses, but just like I'm always nervous. Like I'm scared when I walk into a room. I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of it just has to do with like past things.
Right.
And I'm a very misunderstood person, and I feel like I'm I'm not like one of those people where like everyone loves me, but I'm not one of those people where everyone hates me.
Yeah.
I'm either you really like me, it's like split in the middle. Either you really like me or you really don't. And I have a problem with really fixating on people and why they don't like me.
It's hard.
Because I just want people to like me.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you're
I
like,
get it.
wait a minute, but I was always nice to that person. Like,
Yeah.
why don't they like me?
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you don't know them and you're like, what the fuck? Why don't you be my friend? You know, like you're like, I just want you to love me. Like, why don't you like me? So I have a problem with that I'm trying to like work on as I'm like approaching 30 years old. I'm like, okay, lady, you just need to let it go. Like, not everyone's gonna like you. And then like the other side of me is like, but I want them to like me.
That's the hardest thing. You can't control other people's behavior or reaction to you. You can only control your reaction to their behavior.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to accept that people may not like you because you want to fix it and you want to, you know.
I'm a total fixer.
Yeah.
And one thing that I do admire about myself is that I always acknowledge when I've fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm always like, hey, dude, I was a dick.
Yeah.
It may take a while or it may take myself like, you know, figuring out like, okay, wow, that was a shit move. So whenever I go out of my way to like really fix things and the other person doesn't want to fix it, which is totally okay, I have a hard time like accepting that.
Yeah.
Like I don't like unfinished business.
Right.
I don't like having enemies and I don't like having people. I'd rather you just be like, meh, whatever.
Yeah.
Than like dislike me.
Yes. I know exactly how
Do
you feel.
have that? Like,
totally. Are you kidding me? Like, and it's horrible when you see it like on social media, like people just, and I'm sure that you get it way worse than I do, where people just attack you kind of for no reason.
I wish I had that ability to just fuck it. I don't care.
Yeah. I think few people have that ability. I think most of us care a lot about what other people think of us.
Yeah.
You know, because
which is so stupid.
Which is so stupid. And I think social media feeds that, you know, because you look for validation through strangers, through people that you don't know. And
so weird, right?
Yeah. And it's just like, these people don't actually know you. They've never met you in real life, but they've formed this opinion of you. But
and your feelings get hurt, and
your feelings get hurt, and you want to change it.
Probably like live, like I said, in their parents' basement, and you're like crying over you. They said hey.
Well, and then too, like when you allow that to affect you, then you've given them the power that they're seeking,
right?
To have some kind of effect on somebody, because a lot of them, I think, feel like they have no control over their own lives, so they try to go out and like spread their tentacles into other people's lives and make them feel bad, and then it makes them feel like I feel like sometimes it just makes them feel like someone actually listened to them. like no one listens to them.
Right. I
And
think it's a
by
way
saying
to just
saying mean to you and you responding, they're like, oh,
an
somebody's
attention
listening to
grab.
me.
Yeah.
Attention grab. And I was able to like affect somebody because they
Mhm.
feel so ineffective in their own personal life. I love to psychoanalyze
Oh,
like
I'm
Twitter
so
trolls.
weird. Like, you know what's awesome but scary at the same time is
Mm.
like as a person, I find from the age of 27, when I turned 27, something like clicked in my head.
hmm
And from 27 to 29, I've been on like the spiritual journey, but not like one of those like weirdo spiritual journeys where I'm like constantly on like social media, like pray, be positive. No, like my own personal
Hashtag gratitude.
Yeah, like my own personal spiritual journey of like, how can I make myself the
Mhm.
best version of myself for other people,
Right.
not
Yeah.
just for myself. So that included like reaching out to people that I might have been a dickhead to,
Mhm.
or making amends with people that even though you don't necessarily, want to reconnect, but in order to better yourself as a person, you have to forgive those people and give them another chance. And by giving them another chance, I don't mean like, hey, they shit on you and not holding that grudge. Being
Yes.
just very like, hey, I don't have any negative feelings towards you. So letting go was something that I have worked on really hard for the last few years.
Yeah.
And it's a work in progress, but I think that learning to let go is the best tool you can ever.
It's the greatest gift you can give yourself.
Yes.
Forgiveness. Yeah.
Yes. And I don't know if it's come with maturity or
I think that's a big part of it.
or life experience, but
Well, I think those things go hand in hand.
yeah.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. I mean, I'm in a 12-step program, so I have to actively work that kind of stuff
Right.
in order to basically stay sober and like not become a complete fuck up. So,
people often ask me like, am I like recovering or am
Mhm.
I working like the 12-step program, or is this like the part where you apologize? And I'm like,
Step 9.
no, I'm just doing it because I feel like it's the right thing to do.
I mean, honestly, I've always said I think the 12-step program can help anybody with everything because you can apply it to anything.
You
and it's
gave
really
me that book, remember?
Which one was it?
The power.
Power of Now?
The 4 agreements, or the 5 agreements, or
The 4 agreements.
the 4 agreements.
Did I?
Yeah, you gave me that book.
I don't know if I've read it. Did I read it?
Yes.
Fuck. Was I drunk when I gave it to you?
I don't know, but I'm just saying, you gave me that book when I was like cuckoo, and I had. You know what's awesome though? It's like, so I had like everyone. It's kind of common knowledge that I
Mhm.
had like a mental breakdown,
Mhm.
which is pretty gnarly because people didn't think I was gonna come back, but it actually came back a better version of myself.
Mhm.
So I feel like everyone has like their version of rock bottom. Like if you're an addict, hitting rock bottom.
Yeah.
If you've been through really hard times, hitting rock bottom. And so like I feel like my nervous breakdown was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I just feel like I'm a much more forgiving, loving, selfless person than I was.
I think it's really great to go through that because it really changes your perspective. It pops that bubble that we live
Right.
in.
Like I'm so humble
Yeah.
now, and I am so thankful. Like every day I'm like, wow, I have a really nice house and a nice car and
Mhm.
nice pets and nice things.
Mhm.
Whereas back in the day, I always wanted more, 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 more.
Yeah.
It like there was never anything. It never was enough.
Yes. I know exactly what you mean. It's like trying to constantly fill that void and it just nothing ever works. You can pile money and, new furniture and house and boys and sex and booze and drugs and you'll never be able to fill it. And it's so much like something that you have to work on the inside.
Yeah.
I have a friend that I text a gratitude list to every night. She texts me one and I text her back.
Oh, cool.
And that helps. I was actually talking to a friend of mine who said who read something or watched some kind of interview with like a psychologist, and he talked about how this like 21-day program where every single day I don't know if it's if you write it down or you exchange it with somebody else, tell somebody else 3 things you're grateful for. 3
I've heard
new
about
things
this.
every single day for 21 days straight, how it will literally change your brain chemistry and it'll shift your perspective.
Right.
And I think that that's totally true. I went through a really, really hard time this year. Like this year was one of the hardest years for me. It just started off just awful. It just had all these things happen to me at once, and I spiraled off into this horrible depression, and my drinking spun out of control again, and I really just focused on trying to be grateful for what I had, and like doing meditations
Mhm.
and doing writing and like saying my gratitude list even though I didn't feel it,
Right.
and trying to manifest like this faith that like I was going to be okay.
You have to
like
be so careful not to become a victim of yourself.
yes, exactly.
And that's so easy, especially
So
like
easy to play the victim. It's cop
it
out.
totally is.
Yeah.
And especially like with me, through therapy and stuff, like with my bipolar disorder,
Mhm.
I became bipolar because that was part of my breaking point with my nervous breakdown.
Right.
After I came out from my nervous breakdown, they were like, "Oh, hey, you're bipolar." So I had to learn how to live with this, and I would lash out and have like I would say the most terrible things to people,
Mhm.
horrible things. I would do horrible things, and I'd be like, "Oh, it's because I'm bipolar."
Yeah.
And then through therapy, I learned, no, you can't be a victim of yourself. Just because you have a disorder or you have an addiction
Right.
or whatever, you have to still take responsibility.
Exactly.
Even though it just is going to be harder for you. Like me, my biggest problem is I have a venomous mouth when I get angry.
Yeah.
Or when somebody pushes my buttons, when
Mhm.
somebody pokes the bear, I say the most horrible things.
Mhm.
And then I used to be like, "Oh, it's because I'm bipolar." But now it's like, no, it was because I was being an asshole, and because I am bipolar, that was, one of the fiery underlinings of it all. But
Right.
if I accept that that was my own behavior.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to take I mean, like what they say, for example, they say for me, like it's not your fault you're an alcoholic, but it's your responsibility to do
Right.
something about it.
Because I mean, you can't be like a raging alcoholic and then
just be like, oh, well, that's how I was born with. I'm just going to sit here and be a victim of my own circumstance. Like, sure, you can do that and you can spend the rest of your life fucking miserable and nobody wants to have anything to do with you.
Right.
But I mean, you dug that hole for yourself. Like, as human beings, it's our responsibility. We all have our own demons. Everybody does. No one's perfect. And it's your responsibility and it's your life's challenge to face that and to conquer that. I mean, people are always like, what's the meaning of life? What's the purpose of life? I think that that's probably it.
Now, do you find yourself like extra sensitive to when people make jokes about like addicts, like stereotypical jokes? Like, because with me, this is something that I'm working on right now. It's like people make stereotypical jokes about like bipolar disorders. Like Kanye West is a big one. And a lot of people are like, it's because he's crazy bipolar, he's off his meds. And it's like, I have empathy for somebody like that, because the thing about bipolar disorder that a lot of people don't understand, and they wonder like, oh, why don't they just keep taking their meds and they won't be crazy? The crazy chemistry behind being bipolar that I took trial and error is that when you take your medication, you start feeling better.
And then you don't want to take it anymore.
And then you're like, I don't need to take it. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Fuck you. And then when you get off your medication, you go into this whole, like, depending on what type of bipolar you are, bipolar 1 or 2 or whatever. And then you go into this spiraling mode of, I'm normal. This is normal. I feel normal. And then people around you start, thinking whatever. But my point is that, does it bother you when people have stereotypes with like addicts? Or did it used to? Because with me, it really bothers me and it hurts my feelings. And I'm like, oh, well, they don't know my history. But when people are like, oh, Kanye West is crazy again, off his meds, and it like hurts my feelings.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm super sensitive though, so
it is frustrating sometimes when what frustrates me is when people sometimes say something like, well, alcoholism isn't a disease and, you're just weak. It's a willpower thing. And why don't you just stop? Because but it's like, I think it's probably the same as you trying to explain to me like what bipolar is, like me trying to explain to you like what alcoholism is. It's just one of those weird fucking things I
Right.
can't explain to you. Like, I remember, my boyfriend asking me, during like my last episode. I mean, poor guy's I put him through so much. He's just like, I don't understand why you do this to yourself. He's like, you have a family who loves you. I love you. You have a successful career. You have fans who love you. You have friends who love you. Like, everything's great in your life. Why do you do this to yourself? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. And that just makes me feel worse
Right.
to be questioned like that, because I think that to myself
Mhm.
every single day. Don't you think that, like, when I'm fucking sneaking little bottles of vodka in my purse and I'm like hiding it in my car, like
The airplane
drive,
bottles?
yeah, airplane bottles. Those things like trigger me when I see those around. I'm like, that always gets me.
Right.
Like if I see those in movies or whatever, like, because that was such a
Mhm.
fixture of my life. I mean, don't you think that I ask myself that question every fucking day? Like when I was, it's like my hands won't listen to my brain.
Right.
But in a strange way, I mean, now that I'm on the other side of it and I'm sober, there's a strange part of me that's grateful for it, because it forced me to look at myself in a way that I don't think I ever would have done before.
Right.
And a lot of people aren't forced to look at themselves in the way that I did, because they don't have this insane fucking disease, which would very likely
Mhm.
kill you and destroy your life.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a matter of life and death for me. Like, I have to live my life a certain way. Otherwise, I will destroy myself. It's bizarre, but in a strange way, it's sort of like a gift,
Right.
because, like, I'm very conscious of all of that. And I don't know, I wouldn't trade the journey for anything. It's made me who I am, and it's made me very grateful for
Totally.
what I have. And I feel like you probably feel the same way about what you went through.
Yeah. And it's definitely made me more of an empathetic person,
Yeah.
because I used to really struggle with like
Judgment.
not judgment. I was never a judgmental person, but I lacked empathy.
Mm-hmm.
I like if somebody was in an abusive relationship, I'd be like, well then just fucking leave.
Yeah.
But considering like what I went through in my past, and being a survivor of a domestic violence relationship, I have such a total different outlook. When people would commit suicide or would hurt themselves or had, issues, depression issues, I'd be like, just get over it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, whoa, that's not how it works.
Yeah, when you're
So,
in that state, it's like it's so hard to see the light at the end of the
right.
tunnel.
And
I've been there.
I feel like especially with this industry ever evolving and
Mhm.
changing, sometimes I become a victim of, you know, my own emotions, because I'm like, oh, why can't the industry be like this anymore?
Yeah.
And I
Oh, there's nothing more that I love to do is sit around and bitch about how it used to be
I used to.
and how it's not like that at all
I
anymore.
wish I
The
was
good
a
old days.
contract girl.
Yeah.
I get paid like, this much to like
Yeah.
shoot once a month.
Yep.
Like work once a month.
Yep.
But now the hustle's different. I mean,
Hustle's
now
so
you
different.
really have to hustle.
Yeah.
And the competition is fierce.
Yeah.
And I think like the hardest part for me is just trying my hardest not to be like that jaded person.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Because sometimes there's a lot of like comfort in falling into that whole like fuck my life now, and oh, it used to be so much better, and poor
Right.
me, and nobody pays for their porn anymore, and it's everybody else's
Well,
fault.
now there isn't really any stars. Like
Mhm.
there's the it girl for that flavor of the month
Yeah.
or 6 months or whatever, and then they like disappear
Yeah.
because they do everything in one sitting,
Yeah.
and there's no build up to it. Whereas, I mean, I took 10 years to do an anal scene.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I took what, 5 years to do a boy girl scene, and then I took off a couple of years, and then I came back and started doing boy girl. Like, it's so different.
Yeah. What would you give so my last question for you is, what would you do differently, knowing what you know now? What
Mhm.
would you do differently when you first got in the industry? And is there any way to tie that into advice that you would give to new girls?
What I would have done differently, I think, is what I would have done if I knew how the industry is now. Or
yeah, I know, right? What would you have done differently if you could see the future?
I know, right? Well, I think that I would have definitely not God, this is a hard question. What I would have done differently is I definitely would have done boy girl a lot sooner.
Mm-hmm.
I would have done it when the contract girl still existed.
Mm-hmm.
I
And you
started
could have
doing,
gotten a lot of money for your first boy girl.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Jules Jordan, I'll never forget, used to like beg me to do
Yeah.
my first boy girl and offer me a lot of money, and I just was like me, no. But the advice that I would give to girls is that don't let these agents or directors or producers tell you that you have to do everything all at once. Take it slow, because what you're seeking is longevity.
Mm-hmm.
Longevity is so hard to achieve in this industry, and I think that everyone who's taken their time, yeah, you're not going to be like the it girl right away. You're not going to be that girl, but it's okay. Who cares? The it girl is not making what you're making. I can tell you, I make more money than the it girls make because I'm not doing $800 boy girl scenes for a box cover.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not having sex 12 times a week,
Mm-hmm.
hustling, killing my body, and burning myself out. So I keep my rate high, and you just have to stay grounded. Don't let these people chip at you, because they don't care about you.
Right.
The only person that's going to care about you is yourself.
Yeah. So self-respect.
Self-respect.
Self-respect. Thank you so much for coming on,
Thanks for
Brett.
having me.
It was so good to see you. I feel like we had a very it was interesting. I feel like most of our conversation was not about porn at all.
No.
Which I like.
Yeah.
See, people, she's a real person.
I'm a real person.
She's a real person with thoughts and feelings and hopes and dreams.
And a heart.
And excellent holiday decorating skills.
Very.
Maybe that's something that you should go into. You
I
could
know.
start doing like
I
the
should,
Macy's
do
windows.
like a professional decorator.
Dude, if I had the money, I'd have you come over and do it for me.
Oh man.
One day.
I get cray.
Tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. I'm Brett Rossi, the letter I, the letter M, BretTrossI, or BrettRossi.com, because it has all that stuff. So
perfect.
Yeah.
And you can find me at Holly Randall on Instagram and Twitter, and go to my Patreon if you want to support this podcast, patreon.com/Holly Randall Unfiltered. See you guys next week. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to do a second video that's not live.
Sure.
Like less than 10 minutes, probably.
Cool.
Awesome. Let me just make sure that Heidi didn't text me. It's 12:54. Okay. I should have gotten her fucking number. Stupid me. Okay. All right. Let me know when you're ready. Okay.